Hey guys, what's going on? Back again with another video. This one's going to kind of be a follow-up to the last video that I made where I solved that Origins was loosely based on the Twilight Zone episode Little Girl Lost. As you can see on the screen, Season 3, Episode 26. It's about a little girl that got lost in her bedroom, kind of like Samantha, and she got stuck in between, I guess, into the fourth dimension, but in our story, she got stuck in Agartha, and it's for us to try and get her out of Agartha from Origins. And Maxis and her were trying to get reunited. So that was one part of the solve from the last video, and the other part was it looks, and like I'd mentioned before, once you solve Easter eggs, I consider it almost like a cipher where whatever the cipher key is that you might have figured out, it helps you kind of figure out and solve other Easter eggs and see how the maps are made, how I guess Jimmy and Jason thought of the maps or kind of the theme that they wanted to go with. So in Black Ops 2 looks like, amongst a lot of other things, like this isn't just saying that everything in Black Ops 2, all the maps were based on the Twilight Zone. It's just they're taking different things from pop culture, some of them more noticeable than others, some of them like this that take literally like 12 years to solve. So again, a part of that video I mentioned that Transit was taken from another Twilight Zone episode called Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up? And in that you kind of see how there's a bus and the people on the bus are traveling through a town. They stop at a diner or cafe, kind of with the same name as ours, which was the Highway Cafe. And a couple things happen. The bridge kind of breaks, like how it breaks in our transit when you go over it. The bridge kind of goes out. But like again, I've also mentioned who knows what direction Jimmy was going, but because of console constraints and to be honest, the feud between Jimmy and Jason at the time, with the zombie team and the campaign team, a lot of stuff probably got scrapped. They ran out of a lot of time, and again, a couple things happened back then. And again, this is the bus that they use in the TV show. And again, they're riding in the bus, going from place to place. The bus driver looks like Ted before he became a robot or whatever. And then, that was just a kind of a recap. So the new one, obviously, as you can tell by the title, it's going to be about Die Rise. So there is a Twilight Zone ride, not necessarily an episode, called the Tower of Terror. I don't know if maybe that's where they got some of the idea from, the Tower of Babel, Easter egg, and all that stuff throughout Transit and Die Rise. Don't know if it's necessarily in Buried, but um, there is a ride that was in both Florida and LA. I think it's at Universal or MGM Studios. It might be MGM Studios because I think it's a Disney owned property. So it's called the Tower of Terror, and if you remember in Die Rise, there's an elevator that we go in at the starting room or the starting area, and everybody has to stand on the elevator. Then it just kind of, I guess the brakes fail and we all slam down. I don't know if that's supposed to symbolize us dying at that moment. Maybe it does because I think they go in the elevator, it closes, and then they get brought back to um, the map again or the spawn area. And I just took a piece from the intro cinematic or intro cutscene, and again, it's just showing that I don't want to go into the game, but everybody knows if you've played the game, it's probably one of the funnest things in zombies when everybody goes into the elevator and you all slam down. Then they flash the PhD flopper in front of us as a tease, and we don't ever get to stop on those floors. So again, with that being said, this is the ride that it's based off of. This one they talk about Hollywood Studios, but I've only been to the one in Florida, and I knew it was definitely in Florida. Um, and in the real life Tower of Terror, which it's not a TV episode, it's just based on the ride. It is a hotel, a haunted hotel, which I think would be a really cool idea. But it makes you kind of almost think about, was maybe Buried and Die Rise supposed to be together, or was um, Black Ops 2 Zombie was supposed to be a huge open world, and all these locations were supposed to be together. I don't want to go into too many theories about that stuff, but again, it's just a ride, and I'm gonna just kind of skip to the part where it tells you the lore or the backstory. But basically, it opened in 1994, Disney MGM Studios, and the story is well, it says the Tokyo version features an original storyline not related to the Twilight Zone and takes place in the fictional Hotel Hightower. All versions of the attractions place riders in a seemingly ordinary elevator. Um, and it just says they disappeared in the elevator and it slams down. I don't want to use any clips, but there's a ton of clips on YouTube because sometimes you go through doing all this stuff and every little thing gets copyrighted nowadays. I just didn't want to end up losing all the time. Not that I spent too much time on these, but again, this is the more interesting part where it tells you the backstory, and it says that the episode depicts the events of a stormy night in Hollywood, 1939, where a lightning bolt strikes the tower and causes 5 people, an actor, a singer, a child star, her nanny, and a hotel bellhop to vanish from the elevator. But I've been on the ride. Basically, same thing. You're sitting down, the elevator doors close, and then it just loses control, slams down. Well, it doesn't really slam down because everybody would get hurt or die. But it just free falls really high down, probably like a couple stories, maybe like 10 stories. But in our game, it only falls down like a couple floors. And they vanish along with the entire wing of the building. Sterling then tells guests that they're stepping into the in a maintenance service elevator. I've been on the ride and I've seen some videos, like I said, on YouTube that the ride, it starts where you kind of free fall down, like it's out of control, but then it's like haunted. You do see some ghosts, and that's pretty much it. I think you end up going forwards and backwards, not just up and down. But like again, it looks like to me it's up to where they based Diarise from, which I think is pretty cool. I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, the ride unfortunately isn't around anymore. They got rid of them and they replaced it with a couple things after that. I think it's even saying 2014. Unfortunately, I am older, so I went on it a few times back in the day. And this is what it looks like. I was trying to think, maybe has anything to do with Buried, maybe the Buried Hotel. I thought maybe they cut and pasted, the map from the hotel from one part to another. I thought was pretty cool. It does look pretty nice. It does look like it would fit in Buried, but maybe I'll go back into Buried and check it out. But I thought that was cool. That definitely is something that they looks like they based it on. I have a couple ideas coming up too. Like I said, once you solve stuff, it helps you solve other stuff, other maps. So, I mean, that's pretty much it for now. I'll see you guys later.